Nosfero, does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? Nosfero, does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? It is the name both ghouls and demons dare not say, for they know it means death for the undead.
We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you? People always go on madhouse someplace. I hate to even think about it.
Welcome, all you fine people. We are here to talk a little Stranger Things 4. How are you doing, boss?
I love getting to talk Stranger Things with my man Shanth. Thank you for having me, man. Great.
Hey, my pleasure, man. I almost introduced us as I was like, my name is Cotton McKnight, and with me, as always, is Pepperbrook. Pep.
Hell yeah, man.
Dodgeball.
Pepper, take it. I love it.
That's right, man. What is up, everybody in the chat? So, I was trying out this new feature. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it, but you can put background music.
I was going to say, I just thought my life was having an ominous music moment again and someone was about to stab me, but it's just you.
It's just that background music. Right. Let's see who we've got here in the chat before we get started chatting about this stuff. We have Stephen Rockwood Drawing, as always, dropping links. Well done, sir. Leg Kick 1, hail to you, my friend. We've got Past Master Dan. I know he's spoiling it right there. LE is saying, oh man, I just saw the first episode the other day, so I'll have to skip this. Understood, my friend.
We'll see you next time.
We will see you next time, my friend. Who else? We've got John here as always. John, it's great to see you. Angela Curry. Hail, Angela. How are you doing? Boo, I haven't seen it yet. I'll catch it on replay. Absolutely, you will. But first, you got to make sure you see that show. Hey, chat people and Sean. Hello, Julie. How are you doing? And let's see. Brian Suddenly Old. Great to see you, my friend. And did Sean pick up? He sure did. Let's see. John is here. Angela's saying later. She's heading out before she is spoiled, rotten. Bumped the record player. Absolutely. Everybody's saying hello. American Comics Company. You're always in good company when American Comics Company's in the house. Zach Fernandez. Great to see you, my friend. And let me see if there's anybody else I missed here. Holy cow, it just jumped. As always, it just jumped big time, which I appreciate. Hot Cup of Joe, a horror waffle, yum indeed. Coming right up, my friend, coming right up. Let's see here. Yes, Snuggy Jr. is saying that pancakes are greater than waffles. Always political in the chat, but, you know, it's all right. We're going to get through this, Snuggy. We'll squash this beef. Jeremy Burtz, it is great to see you. No spoilers, please, unfortunately. Snuggy, we're all spoilers all the time, you know, so it's one of those things. You all still watch Netflix, but then again, I still watch you all talk about it. Well, you know what's interesting?
We're a cheaper subscription.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. We don't know how much longer this will go, but it is what it is. How much I can afford it for longer. So, shoot, I forgot. I was.
Oh no.
Oh, Past Master Dan. Gigabucks, extra spoilers, please. We've got it. Go see it, Angela.
We'll spoil you.
Yeah, Mighty Geek Studios. I'll have my usual. All right, my friend Chicken and Waffles coming right up. Antoine Dennison. Hey, guys. And let's see. I think I've got everybody. Man of Span. Oh, my God. I almost got through that with my reading ability. It's great to see you, Hale, to you as well. And hello, waffles and pancakes and waffles. Yes, the real Sean. Incredible evening, folks. John, hello. All right, guys. It is great to see all of you here. We'll catch up with a chat periodically, but we are here to talk about, and we see people who have not seen it yet. Run for your lives. That is why we have spoilers on the screen, my friends. All the more reason to go see it. So, Vaughn.
Oh, yes, Shanth?
If I may.
I don't
so
know.
You started, we talked about Stranger Things previously.
Yeah.
Right. And we talked about your feelings about season 1, your feelings about seasons 2 and 3. And then we talked about the first part of season 4. And I made some predictions that you may at some point in the show, we'll give people a chance to scramble. But that I was wrong about, and I'm dying to get to those. But as a general thought, what did you think of season 4? How did it compare for you, all said and done?
It's better than than 2 and 3 in every way. And it all came together in a big way, but it felt a little like I mean, the amount of tearjerker scenes in this, the amount of like contrived writing they had to do to make certain things happen.
Yeah.
Like it kind of made me feel a little bittersweet about the ending. But overall, as a story, I really liked it. I thought this came together in a cool way by the end, at least. And it was cool getting to see the characters have their arcs, of course. So they tied up things in a really good way. I'd say that they both have become better writers and directors after this season.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because as somebody who Snuggy Jr., I love contrived writing.
As somebody
who is a fan of writing and a fan of good storytelling, but interestingly enough for me, I'm one of those people who enjoyed the 80s the first time around, but I'm not one of those people who needs to see a nostalgia fest for it. I like to see good storytelling that happens in that time period. And I think they've done a really good job. But I think that the thing that impresses me most before we start getting into spoilers was I thought that the cast were pretty solid. But by the time we got to that last episode, there were some actors who did some acting I was unbelievably impressed by.
Yeah. Yeah. They're growing in good ways, for sure. Yeah, we should delve into spoilers. Shouldn't we? Did you like how it compared to the first part of the season? Do you think it all like tied it off well, or?
I want you to take the lead on that.
Okay. Well, the first part. Let's talk about our story here. We got Vecna, this creature in the Upside Down, a new villain, if you will, with powers, who's hypnotizing people, haunting them with their worst fears, and then killing them and breaking their limbs, sucking out their eyes, and leaving them a little corpse. And wherever they kill them, we start to find out over time that Vecna, we start to find out more about him, of course, as the story plays out in his past, but we start to find out his kills are also leaving portals.
Yes.
And those portals are in the Upside Down, and they're used for an invasion. So this stuff's turning into it's getting real serious here. And also we found out who Vecna is.
Yes.
And the connection, and it all connects to season 1 when this episode where we saw 11 go on a killing spree, or so we come to find out 11 was trying to save everyone and defend herself after 1 had tricked her and into removing his inhibitor and letting him he just unleashes and just starts murdering everyone. It's crazy. And it's great. It was a great big reveal, right? And then these last 2 episodes, and you're like, damn, man, these things are monsters too. There's the first one's like an hour 20, hour 30. The next one's 2.5 hours. Well, how much is it? How long is it? 2 hours?
It was 2 hours and 4 days. It was 2 hours and
it took you that long to watch.
Seriously, it was intense, man. And
Yeah.
I have to say, I like, isn't Matthew Modine always a villain in his roles? I don't, he started out, he was such a good kid, but
He's
it's
a good Joker.
yeah, seriously, man. I mean, he's the thing about Matthew Modine. Yeah, I mean, he's skateboarding. He's like a chill dude. That's the funniest aspect of this. You see him when he's at conventions talking
Put
about
him in a
Stranger
wig
Things.
with sideburns.
Yeah, it's totally right. You want to take his
Totally
pulse and be
different,
like, "Are you all right, dude?" But I have to say, I thought that it was really ambitious. I thought it was really epic. I loved some of the character moments. I have to say there were a couple of things in the second episode of part 2, or I should say, the second episode of part 2, last episode, that I feel like, hey, what's up, Apex Comics? Hello to you. I felt as though it got a little packed. Like there was so many different things emotionally happening that it was almost like it was a layering of story, but I felt like everyone was having this sort of the same narrative arc in those moments, with the exception of the stuff I loved. I would say that my favorite, I would say that my favorite moment and character relationship in that last episode was the relationship between Max and Lucas. I thought that one was, in the final analysis, had a certain kind of beauty to it. But there was a lot to be had. Where did you fall down in terms of the characters? Or where did you come down on?
Man, so we start up these new episodes, and 11 is trapped to get out. And Papa's not letting her leave the missile silo thing. That was an awesome addition. That they were using a missile silo for psychic testing was cool, and it gave it the perfect aesthetic, and it was just cool. But like they're interweaving all the stories and bringing everyone together, and it's like intense as hell, and it's like it never lets up to the point where it gets a little ridiculous. Like they break out of prison, and then they're like, "Look, looks like we're going back in." Like I don't know, it was just getting like but like it became it was pretty frantic when it comes to the characters. I mean, I liked where a lot of it went. I really liked Eddie, and I didn't want to see him die, man.
Yes,
first of all, when it comes to characters, but it was, how do I put it? It was cool that everyone got their arc, and the writing was pretty solid. I felt like the stories, when they finally came together, it wasn't as climactic, I guess, as I had hoped. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it was, I don't know. I loved when they were taking on Vecna. That was a rush. I loved that they had the awesome plan. They all were doing different things to like be able to take down his defenses and mess with him and everything. And then at the same time, I mean, what did you think about like when it came to like Pop and his final thing with 11? Do you want to get into that? Or
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to get into that. First of all, until somebody brings me his head on a plate at this point, I will never believe he's done. I don't know why. I just have to to wonder if he's dead. So you're talking about the final sequence with Papa, right? Am I correct? Yes.
We're talking about 11's breaking out of the missile silo. The government has decided to take her out, right? Her friends have shown up, like Jonathan and Stoner guy, who's awesome, and who else? Mike, right? They basically showed up to save the day as 11's breaking out with Papa. He's just doing like a last redemption save of her after he was trying to lock her down in there so they can keep doing their experiments and stuff. He was getting real fascist and evil, and she was hurting Papa pretty bad. She almost killed him, but
she almost
ended up getting her injected and taking her out. And then when she wakes up, that's when the military comes in to ice her. So they bail. And as they're bailing and finally getting outside, a sniper and a chopper is taking Papa out, man. Like, just, like hitting him. And he, of course, lives forever and does this whole monologue and everything, right?
Yeah.
It's
that's okay. The thing for me, right? It's packed. There's a lot of stuff in there. And I think on the first episode, the thing that season 1 did really well, and that I think that this season did fairly well. I think it's probably the second best season of the show, in my opinion. All things
for sure.
Is that able to make
Oh,
things
Stranger Things.
enlarge without them breaking our sense of what our role in this. You know, like when things get so epic, sometimes there's a little bit of a disconnect. And I thought that the Vecna character and the way that they laid out the history of this program was great. The way that heavens, you know, the way that he was going around taking people out was great. I do think that when things, I don't know if it's because there was a gap between the first part of, you know, season 4 and the second, but when certain characters started showing up, I found myself going, oh, I forgot about that person. Like, we got to do something with that person and with this person. And I think the characters I was most invested in were characters like Eddie, as you mentioned. The relationship that he had with Dustin, I thought was great. Nancy and Steve, I thought they did a great job with that. So there was just there were a ton of characters I like in this. You know, there were a ton of different stories.
Yeah, and then at the end they had the tack on there, like, oh, by the way, oh god, I totally forgot her name. Steve's lesbian friend.
Yes.
They're like, by the way, she gets a girl too, and like she's totally awkward, isn't it cute? And it was very contrived, and you were just like, okay, of course. Like, if you have to understand, I think part of Stranger Things is 80s flavor is that you allow it to be cheeseball because in the 80s it was also. So sometimes I let them get away with that, you know, but it was pretty tacky. They were just kind of like, they kind of shoved that in real quick, you know. They shoved it in right before the whole town like split, or did I think the town already split?
It already split, but it was before the bigger reveal, right?
Right.
And that was there you go. Odin saying Robin is attracted to herself. That was weird. Yeah, that's right.
Robin, that's right.
Can we just have a movie or a show where I'm sitting there, you know, in line at the lunch counter, and I look over and there's another person who looks just like me, and our eyes meet, and it's, you know, I love you, person who's
she's
like
totally
me.
into you too, and her boyfriend's so stupid.
I know, right? It was an interesting. Go ahead.
He just dumped me, by the way, and oh my god,
yeah.
Look, like, we already knew it was contrived that they were working together, but we were going to allow that if you'd done some charming dialogue. But sometimes they just they just on the nose it, in that you're just going, okay.
Yeah, it's these things this is the real trick, right? There's how much closure do you need to give the audience, and this is, you know, as a storytelling thing, as a writing thing, and how how does that closure and how much you tie things off affect their energy going forward? And for me, I think that Robin grew as a character this season, but we've really just met her, and I felt like that was a little soon. Right, for that character, it's like they meet 3 seconds, and it's, you know, it gave Steve a great moment.
She'd been eyeing her, but they didn't ever have that connect until then.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then Steve's looking, going with the smirk, like, everyone's getting laid but me.
Exactly. Yeah, if he does that one more time, you know, it's one
He's
of those
Steve
things.
Harrington. He could have gotten whoever he wants, you know.
Yeah,
I know.
absolutely. It was and that was the thing for me, you know. I what I like about these characters and what they've done such a great job of doing is building this world up and building all of these characters. But there were sections and there were plot lines of this to where I felt like I could have enjoyed this entire season if 1/3 of the cast story hadn't really even been a part of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, which would you excavate? Which would you remove?
I would remove. Oh boy, geez. Well, you need to bring Hopper back, I think, and also open up the Russia thing. That's kind of interesting. I liked Murray.
That was an insane story and very fun to watch. It was very tense.
Yeah,
funny. Like, they did a good job on it. It was fun. Yeah. Murray and Yuri, dude. I don't think that's funny. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but I can understand why people would want to lose that. Yeah.
Like, what would you? Yeah. Well, I think I don't want to lose it, but I think they could have made that shorter and gotten them home a little sooner and ended that so we could get on with, you know what I mean? Instead, they were like, looks like we're going back in the prison, and you're just like, oh, like, come on, go home, Papa, take a bath, son.
Yeah, I mean, that was so. Yeah, so this is the thing for me. If you took 2 of those separate stories, bring certain characters back sooner, and have them together on some kind of adventure, as opposed to 3 or 4 separate adventures going on and more characters being introduced and learning about their history, I think it might have been a little easier, because if we go back to what I liked about the first part, and or the first half of season 4, the thing I liked about it was the way they started developing Max's guilt, the way they set up the music and the music cues for how to deal with this, this particular character, the house, the clocks. And I think that the story was so large in scale because you're on 2 different continents. By the time you try to increase the scale in Hawkins, it still feels kind of small in a strange sense because things had expanded so much. But that could just be me. I don't know. What did you think?
Huh, that's an interesting take, actually. A smaller scale for Hawkins because everything else has expanded to Russia and the upside down area. I mean, I with all the different characters running around and the pacing being so much faster, I really liked it. But then they did the long forms, and they weren't bloated. They moved at a pretty good pace.
Sure.
So and I enjoyed them enough. But something didn't feel as tight with the writing on these as the rest of the what came before it. It still was good, man. And I swear there was like all these tearjerker moments. Lucas was incredible at the end. The end, he's defending Max while Max is being hypnotized by Vecna, and he's having to fight off the bully. And it's kind of climactic because the bully's attack has been building up this whole season, right? The jock guy. So he's, he comes in and they're beating the hell out of each other. It's great too. And his sister's involved in fighting other people and running away and stuff. So but Lucas was great. And his relationship with Max has only deepened and gotten better. And that was what was really interesting. And Max got better as a character for me. She started off as kind of feeling like she was planted into the show in a way that didn't feel very natural. And now she's kind of the reclusive one who, used to be their friend, has kind of cut herself off and needs to wake up and come back. And I love that. That was really cool. It's relatable,
Yeah, I think that their relationship and their acting, he really sold me. And I will say the actress who plays Max really sold me on the agony of that scene. And to me, there was almost no other group of characters that pushed your stress to the limits like Max's character this season. And when that was happening to her, when Vecna is trying to finish her off, that was gut-wrenching watching his reaction to it. And then, her slipping away and the memories and all of that stuff. So they listen, I will tell you this. I think.
Uh-oh. You cut out, my friend.
Oh, sorry. Am I cutting in and out? Hang on a second.
Just for a second there. You're okay now.
Let me just see here. Let me make sure everything is all set.
But I swear Max has almost been killed by Vecna how many times, man?
Yeah. Quite a few.
By the time this was over, she had almost been killed a million times by Vecna. I mean, now how much trauma does she have? Oh, wait. She's in a coma.
Michael Bancroft's saying, I really thought she was a goner. Yep. And Gabe is saying, hello, hail, Gabe. Great to see you, man. Lucas crying over Max was excellent acting. Absolutely. So true.
And Max, she should have died. I was like, that's her arc. She sacrifices for the team in the end,
Yeah.
Her brother died, and it was a pointless death. Kind of, right? Wasn't it? Or did he die defending her? Correct me if I'm wrong here, people. Because I only watched the first, second, and third season one time, whereas season 1 and 4 I'm rewatching.
Yes.
Launch. So let me know. But I felt like his death was kind of pointless, whereas hers would have been. I don't know. Do you think maybe they put her in a coma, in case they're not going to use her as an actress for the last season as much? Or
boy, that's a really
they probably
good
have big
question.
plans too.
Well, let's, if we talk about the, absolutely. Thank you, Gabe. I appreciate Michael. Yeah. That line where he acknowledged her bravery was good. I agree with that.
Yeah.
That was really great. And links for Truth, Justice, American Way and the Lucid 2 Painted Death are in the chat, guys. Do go and support them. We are about to hit some major milestones on all of these, which we're going to be talking about. But so my general takeaway from it is this. You've got a show that has characters people care about, characters people are passionate about, really nice relationship, moments in it. And to see Max be a fully humanized character even if I thought, oh, she should die or she shouldn't die, I certainly was a little ill prepared, although I assumed it would happen when her body is pretzelified. I was like, oh,
they're taking it that far, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was rough,
her, man. And then and then she couldn't see. Her eyes looked like she was blind.
She looks blind. Yes. And she also said, I can't feel anything, which is a concern. And she had a neck brace on as well. So
what if what if this whole this is really messed up? And then she was kind of gone, and then 11 did something to kind of bring her back, right? Ish, but she's just in a coma. She's like in a darkness,
Yeah.
Like, what if she wakes up and she's got psychic powers?
Yeah, I have no idea. Hang on one quick second, Vaughn. I'm gonna have you hold the fort. I gotta check something real quick. Hang here for a second.
Okay.
You talk.
Okay, robot Shanth, I will overtake your channel with my abilities. Anyway, yeah, okay. And then Eddie, we need to talk about the most epic thing that happened now that Shanth is gone. No, I'm just kidding. I'll wait till he's back for this one. But Eddie was my favorite character, man. And suddenly he had something to prove. He had to prove he wouldn't run away and buy them some more time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he died for. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I that broke my heart. I wanted more of his character. I wanted the town. He was a hero.
Yeah.
Even if he was dead, I wanted the town to know Eddie saved them. But there's something to be said for unsung heroes, my friends.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, and I will say, I liked the moment that he had towards the tail end and the running away in that sequence. And of course, Master of Puppets, not only the album cover, but the album was one of my favorites. And I felt, it was crushing, man. It was crushing to see, no pun intended, what he went through and what so many of these characters went through. But he was one of my favorites. And as you know, I said in the last video we did about Stranger Things, I thought he was going to make it. So I was clearly wrong. Yeah. Oh, that was rough.
Man. Was that rough to watch or what, though?
It was rough. I saw some.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I saw some people online saying he's gay. You think Eddie's gay?
What?
Okay, guess that's a nay to Eddie being
No,
gay.
I mean, everyone. Look, I don't know. Online,
I don't think he's gay. Every time a guy shows any kind of good close friendship or brotherly love with a guy on film, the apparatus that is a bunch of weirdos on the internet go gay, gay, gay.
Yeah,
and you're just like, okay, can they just be fucking to me? Dustin represented as a guy who's done a lot of nerdy stuff.
Yeah,
when he was younger, the older nerd dudes liked us a lot because we were the new generation.
Yes.
They treated us well. They did treat they were like brotherly to us, and they were like big brothers to us.
Yeah.
So it was, it was cool in a way. So I thought it was cool that they showed that. But yeah, you didn't think that either, huh?
No, I thought it was ludicrous. And I think that it's so funny. Everybody is saying it really well, in the chat. Male emotion does not equal gay. He doesn't have a girl interest, must be gay. Exactly.
You don't play metal guitar to not get girls, okay?
Well, that, and he also clearly had a crush. If there was any hint of anything, he had a crush on the cheerleader who died.
Chrissy.
And the reason why he sacrificed himself was because he ran away when she was getting killed.
Right.
That was his dark thing. Almost like he was going to be with her in a weird sense.
Kind of, going to see my lady on the other side kind of way. And then on the other side, she'll be like, who are you? I don't remember. Who are you?
Exactly. I met this other guy.
No, she was cool. Yeah, I met this other ghost. You want to hang out with us?
Yeah, it's kind of complicated. It's rough, man. Poor Eddie. But yeah, it was a passing of the torch. Bob Newby, the nice guy, died season 2, was played by Sean Astin, who played Frodo's buddy Samwise in Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's all connected. Michael's saying, it was a mentor relationship, and I knew Eddie was a goner the moment he told Dustin to never change. That was his passing the torch moment. Yes. It did. And this is the thing. Yeah, Vaughn is overlooking the very obvious Judas Priest. Yeah,
that's just the singer.
Yeah. But no,
No,
it
but
was.
you're right.
We all remember these mentor relationships. They existed in comics. They've always existed wherever, guys have hung out and had, talks about like, oh, so what do you want to do? Like, what are your interests? You're the older artist. I'm the younger artist. There was always that aspect to things. And it seems as though for me, when I'm watching like television, I don't even recognize the world that so many people are inhabiting right now, where people can't have friendships and care about each other. He was dying.
No, it's their world. It's their
Yeah,
world. Their
it's
world
the
is
world,
really gay.
yeah.
It's a bunch of brown women who are really good at everything, and
it's so
they're
weird,
just too
man.
smart for me. That's too smart. And they're all really happy. In my opinion, when I watch commercials, like I don't watch commercials usually. I just like stream and whatever, watch my DVDs. And like when I go to my parents' house for whatever holiday and the commercials are on, it looks like a Jordan Peele horror movie.
Yes.
Every time
Yes,
I watch
it does.
commercials, man.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's I hope it fades. Anyway.
I hope it does too. Yeah, because it's sorry, go ahead.
What did you think about his death though? Was it glorious, man? Did he like I mean, it was like they were really in an RPG game.
It was.
You know what I mean? And it was kind of cool.
Yes. That was the thing that I thought was really interesting. What is up, Hicksville? And great to see you. That I loved. I love that he was actually doing what his character did. And I think the concept that they were going for was the fact that he's lived in this imaginary world, but when the moment came and the monster came for the girl, he ran away and he has to sort of live with that. And now he's in this world that's always been, a metaphor, or at least use the linguistics of Dungeons and Dragons. And he's going to be a real hero,
And no one's going to know.
And that part was the part that bothered me a bit.
Wouldn't it have been cool if somehow there was some way people found out, and knew his sacrifice, Instead, he's just the town Satanist, which could carry over into the next season in an interesting way if they write it right, I
hope they do. I hope they do because, we have to assume that if you've got a character who can go into people's memories, and can go into people's worst fears. They've got to kind of set up every other character they can with a traumatic memory to make his job easier, right? So Dustin's big traumatic memory has got to be now that
not having teeth.
Yeah, not having teeth and not having saved Eddie, right? And Steve's. I don't know what Steve's is at this point.
Bad hair day.
Great hair. Yeah. Exactly.
One day when his hair was bad. Just kidding. It's never happened.
Totally. Yeah. The series says Bancroft. And the town is about to find out how wrong they were about the cult of teenage. You're right. That is a very good point. Very good
Can't blame this one on D&D.
You can't blame that one on D&D. And I will say, though, I feel as though Eddie's death seems like it's pointing to something it's going to relate to in the future. If they drop it cold, I would be shocked, since they haven't done that really with many characters' deaths. And I do think that that I would have loved to have seen, how do I word it? Him staying there and fighting did not seem as though it was buying actual more time. That was the one question that I kind of had about it.
Like it. Yeah. Well, I feel like I had the exact same question. Yeah, I was like, did that buy time? The way the story played out, they made it look like they needed that time because those bats could have come in and taken them out before they got to Vecna.
It was an interesting thing, Yeah, it's we'll see where they go with it. So as far as you and I always talk about our comics and the stories that we're writing and how this stuff influences us. What were the things that impressed you the most in this story? What were the things when you were watching Stranger Things that you were like, wow, I like that. I like what they did there.
The use of solid lines, very simple, solid lines. I did get a little sick of Papa always talking and like, it's like a pencil and you break it and then it's like he started doing that about everything. Like everything he said, it's like a microwave and you close it. And then I was like, shut up, Papa. Just talk like a normal Papa for like, like, yes, you could sometimes do the mythical, I'm a science metaphor to be in character, but also like break out of it every now and then and have like, I don't know, like talk to 11. Just talk to her instead of always giving these long anyway. And then he breaks the pencil dramatically and you're like, shut up. Anyway, what was the question again, dude?
No, I mean, what were the
Just thinking
character
about Papa.
moments or the story things that you liked, that struck you?
That I liked the most? Oh man, the way I loved Vecna. I love the makeup. I love the tie-in to having one be the creepy killer that tricks 11 and then just unleashes hell to all the poor kids. That is a great horror movie story. That is a great horror movie origin for a character. The actor playing him was fantastic.
Yeah.
What else can I say? I really liked like all the moments with like 11 and training, and it felt like Scanners. It felt very 80s. It felt very creepy, and yet you can't wait to see what happens, you know. What else? I really liked Nancy as kind of a Lois Lane type character. I think I had a little bit of a crush on her, and then watching her come in with a shotgun at the end was like a thing of glory.
It was. Yeah.
It was hot. And let's see, what are some Eddie playing Master of Puppets?
Yes.
Perfection. It was the song he would have really played. The character would have played. Like, it was the song that was perfect for the moment. It was just awesome. What a great Stranger Things moment, man.
Yeah, that was great.
I don't care if it doesn't make sense, like pull in like extension cords or something into the upside down. I can't remember. But whatever. Who cares? Like,
I love how you caught that. I didn't even think of that. That's hilarious.
Like, I think they showed like extension cords though for a quick shot though.
Oh yeah,
like,
coming
so
into the that's right.
Yeah. Right. So like because they were by the portal. I just wish Eddie had been like, man, I'm not going back out there. Let's give it a minute and then we'll go back out together and see what happened. You know what I mean? Like, I wish he would. Instead, he was like, oh, I'm gonna get on my bike and just run for it. Well, not run for it, really just lead him away and then fight him like a badass to the death. Poor Eddie, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, man. Yeah, the thing about that character for me, and this when I saw the Bob Newby character, we'll go back, a couple seasons. When I saw Bob Newby and he leaves the gun on the desk, I was like, all right, Bob, you're done. And you kind of got the sense he had dead meat written all over him, to me anyway. Once we got to a certain point. But the thing with Eddie was I felt as though Eddie had more story. I don't know how they would squeeze another character in there. But I felt like he had more story. And I think that, there's certain things where I find the idea of Eddie's future potentially more interesting than, say, the idea of Robin's future, particularly with where they went with it, which was to basically put a very awkward bow on it. So the things I liked about the series was, for starters, I thought they did a great job with one of the great writing moments in that the episode we watched today in my house anyway, was the line from Steve where he says, I think I needed to go backwards and fall down some stairs, get knocked on my head in order to grow. And he said, I wonder if I had that experience with somebody else before I met you, if we'd be together. And that is a great bit of life thinking that goes on with so many people in relationships, and it hasn't been said in a while. I'm sure it's been covered in a while, but yeah.
I see what you're saying. Steve's grown so much.
Yes, he has.
And he's able to look back with clarity and go, man, that was a dick. And I know when I fall down now, and it's too bad because maybe we could have been a thing. Yeah, the love triangle just deepens, man.
It does. Yeah, those three, man. So do you think somebody's marked for death in that love triangle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Most death, or else it's not good writing.
That's where I'm at too. That's where I'm at too,
Yeah. And do you think Nancy's gonna have to make some big choice at some point? I don't know. I feel like, I like her and Jonathan. I like the idea that Steve would meet someone new who's awesome. But then they took that away when Robin was like, no, I like fish markets and hardware stores and Doc Martens.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, I like the Hopper, the Barbarian. I will say.
That was epic.
Yeah, there was no way I could not see, obviously, the Conan sword. When that moment came up, I was like, there it is.
Where did he pull that from? I mean, I know they did throw them some medieval weapons to fight the thing off with before before the battle happened. So he's probably found it on the ground, just hanging out there. But dude, who what Russian idiot throws his Conan sword in there for some guy to just
nobody
die?
does that.
Okay? Nobody gives up the Conan. Oh, but the way he cut that thing and just owned it, he took it. Oh, I wanted him to not cut away, but they cut away too soon. I wanted to just like let us feel the like epicness of Hopper going like after finishing the cut, and the creature's falling down, but they cut away and I was like, damn it. But it was pretty epic, man.
I have to tell you, I don't know.
The flamethrower was cool too.
Yeah, right. Well, there's narrative plot armor and then there's political plot armor. And that's what makes it so hard to predict where the show is going. So, because Odin just said, and Brian's on the old, I think, it's not a bad point. So I could jump almost from season 1 to 4 is what it sounds like. And I would say I don't think that's impossible. They certainly start a little bit before season 1. The
creature, the mind flare.
Yeah,
season 2 is shown in this, but is only barely referenced and shown. So season 2, you're okay. And then Billy dies in season 3 and they reference that and show it. But they show it, like you see it in flashbacks. So you just know her brother died from a monster. So if you're okay with missing out on that, maybe there's a lot of other things that I'm missing. I know they do connect them, but they always are good to like show you what's up. So you literally could go from 1 to 4. It's just that they all grow so much, though. It might be a little unnerving. Like exactly. You're all stretched out like Gumby, man. They're a bunch of giraffe people now.
They are.
Went off. Yeah, it's great. Puberty. It'll hit you.
Yep.
It'll get you.
It hits you. Yeah.
I'm glad they know when to end the show, though. Like, I don't want them like 36 with like beards, like the upside down again.
Well, if you think we're escaping that in this timeline, Vaughn, there'll be the reunion show that people will clamor for. I'm trying to think of which YouTube channel. Yes, please. Right. There's a YouTube show that I was watching where somebody said, and you guys are in the chat are probably going to know whose show this is, but they said it's okay for a story to just end sometime. And I thought, because just watching people dredge these things up, and Odin, I would say in terms of Steve not being part of the family and thus being sort of marked for death, I think it's a possibility, but I do think that it's interesting because I don't know where they've been able to hint they're going with Jonathan at this point, or Will for that matter. Will and Jonathan are interesting characters, but you really don't get the sense, and particularly with Jonathan, I feel like it was a big backslide for his character this season. So I don't know. What
didn't get much time with him. He seems chill, like he still cares. Like he and Nancy still love each other too. Like they didn't. But there's not much to him. And Will, absolutely. I heard that they tried to tell me he was gay too. Yeah, and he's not, right. Like he just
Will.
Or do you think he is?
I think he is.
Yeah. Will. You think he is? Okay. You think he loves Mike?
I think. How do I word it? This is the weirdest thing about this whole sort of current period in our culture right now. I think it is almost impossible for me to look at any of these characters and not just think of them as saying, "Oh, they're passing." They're just going through their fate. Like these kids aren't going to be together for life. Like they're 13, 4. They met when they were kids, right? But I think what Michael says. Yeah, I think Will is gay. I think the part where
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah, for season 1, when he says, when Joyce says that his father thinks that he's gay in a less than charitable fashion, but I think they've also this season they've leaned into it a bit. So unless he's harboring some just so you know, guys, I'm Vecna. I think that I think they've left a lot of breadcrumbs for that. So that would be my guess.
I think Will is behind.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's underdeveloped. I think he's been messed up.
Yeah,
from everything, surviving the upside down, and I think he has problems being physical and romantic with people.
Yes,
and I don't know if he. I felt like I thought they were trying to say that this is a character who has been really messed up or touched, if you will, by the upside down, and it's made human contact in general hard for him. I'm actually wondering if he's going to become psychic himself in the final season.
That's a possibility, man. I mean, here's the thing for me, right? Is that I miss the good old days when we didn't try to read into young people's futures from little things they do when they're young and have things just be open possibilities until you get to a certain age. Do you know what I mean? It's everybody has. It's like childhood. One of the things I loved about season 1 of this that they did such a great job was protecting these kids' childhood. Now I realize they're older characters, so it's a bit different. But from the very beginning, people have been talking about these, child characters and like what their love lives and romances are, which is in the context of this, in their high school dating and stuff. That's classic television right there. But I just think I find myself wondering, like, where do you go? You've got, how do I word this? I don't think that the more epic and the bigger the story is, the less I find myself thinking about characters' love lives. Does that make sense? Like when
because
Luke,
it's not that
who's
big a
Luke
deal.
gonna end up with?
Yeah. That becomes like the girl candy part of the show.
Yes.
But sometimes you're like, okay, I like a good ending where everybody has somebody and they're at a school dance. Like that was cool in season 2, I think it was. So I think, so that's cool. But I get what you're saying too, because there's so many more important things going on. You don't have to hook everyone up with everyone. It's not the dating game too,
Yes,
they
exactly.
kind of been trying to do that. I mean, whatever. Try to hook.
I think there was this one of the movies I've seen in my life that just drove me completely nuts because of its attempt at this Dickensian happy ending was the movie Slumdog Millionaire, where they show this kid who has had this incredibly tortured, horrific experience. And then at the end, he's kind of like won the whole, it had a point thing, which is just, all right, fair enough, whatever. It's a little different in reality in certain ways. But you almost kind of thought like it was just too simplified. And one of the things they've done well in this show is show how the trauma affects these characters. So part of me thinks, they would really impress me if they gave Will more complicated conflict. I think, frankly, the character deserves it. And
he would be more interesting for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, come on, he can't just keep rolling around with that weird haircut and not have sight.
God, what's going on with his hair, man?
He's behind.
Yeah, he is behind. You're right.
It makes him stand out and shows him as behind maturity wise as from other boys. That's why they did that.
Yeah, but can I say this too? You know how when they go into the Upside Down is frozen in time for the time when it was opened, when the gate was opened.
Right.
So part of me wonders if his time in there didn't in some way impact him developmentally.
Oh, dude, the horrors that he survived inside that place as a young kid. Oh my God, he was running around from from all kinds of creatures. Now we're seeing new ones all the time,
Yes.
And then he comes back and he's like, doesn't he seeing things and things are coming out of his nose? And it's just this kid, it really messed with him, but I'd love it if it could turn around and he becomes powerful later. He becomes psychic, like 11 or something. And 11, I love her to death. She's great. But let's just be honest. You always ask yourself, well, what's going to happen? I know what's going to happen. She's going to hold out her hand. She's going to scream. She's going to win.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's a big question, right? That's a big question. When how many
nosebleeds did they give her this season?
They gave her a few.
My question.
Some eye bleeding.
No, I mean she was nosebleed. The nosebleed epic moment happened so fast and so much. I was like, you're losing the effects. That's all. I'm saying. Anyway.
Well, I think you've raised a really good question. For me, I remember when people were talking about the last book in the Harry Potter series. And I remember thinking when I was hearing people talk about that, I go, wow, this is really going to either really disappoint people or it's going to be, if it's good enough to where people don't hate it, it's succeeded, if that makes sense. This is a similar situation with this. This is something to where they've built out all this stuff that they have to get resolved in season 5. A lot of stuff. A lot going on, and they have a lot of characters. So maybe there's a lot of characters because they're going to thin the herd throughout the course of that season. I don't know. So
We
I'm
don't
kind
know.
of curious, but
I mean, gang of kids too. It's a Goonies vibe that it's always kind of been the bread and butter of Stranger Things.
yeah.
But yes, you feel the death is coming because it's the final battle.
Yes.
And that's how final battles go.
Yes.
And it seems like Vecna's still alive, guys. So
Yeah.
he's gonna come back more raw and evil than ever. Number one. Do you call him one or Vecna?
I call him Vecna. It's easier.
Vecna. Yeah, Vecna. It's a cool name. It's evil.
Yeah.
Great villain. If there's time stopped and upside down, then why did his clock always get to keep moving?
Yeah.
I'm just
kidding.
Well,
the football
clock is just his own manifestation thing.
Well, sure, but I mean, it's the four chimes and the four things that they kept pointing to, and as they pieced everything together, and they came to their realization about like, oh wow, this is what Vecna's plan is. His plan was always to open the door. I love that. I love the idea.
That was
okay.
Cool.
So yeah, there you go, man. So here's the thing for me, that it was a great decision on their part. The fact that 11 has the power to open a door and sends him to a world, and from in that world and all the things he sees, he's thinking, I need to gain the power to open the door back. Like that, he sees that as, that's brilliant. I thought.
Oh yeah, he's been in hell, surviving hell, and becoming more powerful there slowly, but wants to be able to do what he does, the murders, and he's become like a lieutenant for the Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
So he's helping them set up the armies while he himself gets to indulge in his revenge. It's pretty awesome. He's an interesting character because he's basically a serial killer who's become a monster with power.
Yeah.
It's Freddy Krueger, and that was really cool. But I love the thought of like back when 11 killed him or warped him into the upside down and tore a hole into the other side. I remember thinking, why didn't you just snap his neck?
That's a good point.
But she couldn't, because both of them were fighting psychically, and she had to just keep pressing her energy against his until she just stamped him out in her mind. But really, she accidentally warped him through a membrane of sorts, because I think he was just pushing his power against her so that his body physically couldn't get owned, but it could get pressed and then start decomposing. You know what I mean? He started disintegrating essentially into this other world and like left a big old, creepy chasm behind. And yeah.
Well, that was, hey, listen, we were talking about things we loved about this. I never imagined I would see, and I loved the knowledge of what the world looked like when he walked into it. We've never seen that world without it being a manifestation of Hawkins.
Right.
And so when he shows that, and him walking around with the Magritte floating rocks and all of that kind of stuff, and the Mind Flayer that he's looking for, and it's huge, man. And I got to give them credit for that. They really did dial things up, and I think that it's that season 5 is going to be an event to see. I'm kind of curious how they're going to do it, though. I'm wondering if they're going to do it as a couple of films released over time, like 2.5, because they did a 2.5-hour finale, and I'm wondering if they're going to do film it all at the same time, but release it 2.5-hour chunk at a time to get the most out of it, or if it's going to be a season like this one with a break in the middle.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't care what they do. I'm just glad they're going to finish up, and they seem like they're doing really well with season 4.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
they really wanted you to cry. Did you feel the tears? Did you cry at all? Did you feel anything come? Anything happen? Anything?
Yeah, man. I felt. I think that Lucas got me when Lucas was screaming for Max. That was really rough. Intense. Yeah, and that was a good fight. That was a damn good fist fight. You know. And I will say that when what's his name? When Eddie was dying, I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, Eddie. Oh.
His acting was great. I was utterly annoyed. In the sense of I didn't want the character to go, but it's I think that I like I said, I wish the bat creatures had been flying back and he had to go out there to lure them back. to buy more time. That was the only thing that kind of like, I was like, I don't know, man. However, that if you tie it back to what happened to him in that very same place where he wanted to be a hero in the true sense, and he had this thing revealed about him. He always played the hero in the world, and he was the dungeon master, but in the real world, he felt like he was revealed to be a coward, and that was rough. I mean, he saw something really horrific happen to this girl that he had known since he was a kid. And so he was, in many ways, I think he was trying to put that basically he needed to do that to die with a clear conscience or live with himself. It was fascinating.
Perfect 80s character, Eddie. Perfect. The older high school, like, people call him a freak. He's a weirdo, but to like this one group of kids, like, he's a god. He's the coolest dude in the world to you. The fact that he's held back just makes him more of a legend. Okay? Yes. He's the type of guy, his name's carved in desks with a switchblade all around the school. Yes. And everybody knows his band, and everybody, and the people of his grade treat him like crap and like he's refuse. But like in the world of like the nerdy D&D kids, he is God, he is king. And he's awesome because he's passing on the D&D like love and fun of the game to a new generation. And I mean, that guy was real, man. Guy was my friend when I was a younger kid, and we played D&D, and so like when I saw that, and to tie it in with the Satanic Panic, this Freddy stuff story with the actual thing that happened in the 80s, which was the Satanic Panic, everyone was freaking out about it, was so brilliant. It worked so well that I was really impressed with that. It worked great. What did you think about the bully's death at the end, where it was just kind of like he was on the ground, he was beat down, Hawkins split in half, and so did he. He
will be missed. No, it was. I have to be honest with you. When he was split in half, the only thing that maybe this is just, I mean, we'd seen so much already in this series, but when he was split in half, I thought it was kind of a shame he was unconscious. That was kind of my take on it. Uh-oh, did we freeze? Vaughn, can you hear me? Uh-oh. Let me see. Are we still broadcasting? Let me know in the chat. Okay, looks like we are. So there we go. Vaughn, you're frozen. You may have to leave and come back in. But yeah, when he was split in half, I think that was definitely one of those things. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can remove you and add you to the stream. You hear me? Okay, good. One, yes. All right. Add to stream. Let's see if Vaughn comes back. There we go. There's Vaughn. Hold on. There we go. All right. So wait, let me see if I can do this. Okay. Oh, I got to remove this guy, though. This guy's the problem. That guy up there.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. You're back.
Kick him out. Hey, what's up?
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah, when he got split in half, I was disappointed that he wasn't conscious for it. Like, I thought it would have been a great horror movie moment. But instead, I kind of felt like, kicking him when he's down, man. They
just kind of did they just kind of this anticlimactic camera move of this crack forming in Hawkins, and he was in the middle of it, and it split him in two. It just kind of kept going, and that was the last we saw of that guy, right? Yeah. Like, I'm wondering if he's gonna have a dad or some like badass man who's like, "Where's my son? What the hell did you do?"
That's true.
And like coming after him, like that could be happening next season, easy. Of course, a lot of people got. It's easily explained away. It's like the earthquake got him.
Yes,
because a lot of people got by the earthquake. Yeah.
Well, I think he was a really interesting character, and they played that. Not the bully guy, but Eddie was a really interesting character. When Eddie died, we kind of got to see it. When Lucas beat that guy up, I almost feel as though there was an opportunity for that Indiana Jones kind of death with him. Where the crack is coming towards their heads and they're wrestling to see who gets put on the ground.
That'd be great.
Of it. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
it was seeing his body, like, kid's knocked out, gets torn in half. It was like, well, I don't think, people are wondering now, why don't he write? You know,
And then they should and then they should show him on the ground, like looking down as the crack starts to go down, and it gets him PP first, and then he's like, no, and he keeps going up, you know, like, and then he's, you know, cut in half.
Yeah, that was pretty rough. Yeah. Let's see here. They abandoned the angry mob pretty quick. Ended up with just a guy walking his dog at the right time. Yeah, that was another interesting part of it. But I think that go ahead.
That was funny. Yeah, I hear what he's saying. It was kind of funny. Like they were like, the mob will find him, and they were like, nah, the dog walker, busted. Yeah,
yeah.
Well,
you know those neighborhood watchers.
There were these little contrived moments that where they forced the story like that kind of stuck out, that weren't as smooth as what came before it in the first part of the season, for sure.
Yeah,
moments like that. And the battle with Vecna, while cool in a lot of ways, it kind of went on and on, man.
Yeah.
And I like battles that go on, but something about this, I was like, come on, point out your hand, scream, let's get this over with. But instead, it kind of had an anime battle feel a little bit, like a shonen battle. And if anybody knows what I mean by that, those are the throwdown long battles that are more creative, where it's like back and forths between, you know, that, you know, it doesn't finish that quick. And you have to kind of use your wits to beat each other as much as your powers in those types of battles. So that's kind of what was going on with the whole Vecna versus 11 thing.
Sure.
But, I thought 11 coming in and saving the day was awesome.
Yes.
I thought, and when they came in to finally take out, Vecna physically, and they're doing the fight, like all of them had their moment of badassery, and that was awesome. Good stuff, man. It was fun.
Yeah,
it was cool to see them connect it all at the end. You know,
it's an interesting thing. You know, we were talking about one of the things my wife and I were talking about with Stranger Things, and I think it should have been more Roddy Piper and Keith David fight from They Live. That would have been the key there, right? But it took Mike long enough to profess his love. I swear, that boy needs a swift kick to get in gear. I liked when Vecna says "you" and 11 responds with her little hi. Yeah, that was good too. Yeah, I mean, for me, this is the thing we were talking about with the kids when we watched the first part of season 4, and they were like, "Oh no, we're gonna have to wait till July to see this," and we were like, "We used to have to wait a week or 2 between every episodes, and then 3 months of the summer." And I'm kind of glad they brought back that you have to wait for these different parts of things to happen, because I think it's probably responsible for the pop culture embracing of it. But it's interesting to see characters that have not existed up until a couple of years ago going toe to toe in pop culture with, you know, these huge pop culture phenomenon and winning and seizing the time, you know. And I think that it's great.
80s tropes, man. 80s trope characters are here to stay. They're always going to be fun. They're always going to be interesting if you write them right. And there's a lot of cool things you can learn. In fact, since this season ended, everywhere I look online, I see the Duffer Brothers will teach you how to make a hit. Duffer Brothers. And they didn't just make a hit. It's something everyone needs to understand about even the best creators. We don't always turn out. We're not all hit maker types. Some of us are not, but most of us aren't. Like a lot of the people that are really popular, like the Duffer Brothers had a movie that came out nobody knew about that didn't do well. It wasn't marketed properly or something. And then what else? And then they got to do a few episodes of a TV show. And other than that, nobody really thought much of them. They thought, and people thought of them as kind of green, and they were right to. But but now that they have this experience and they've done all this, everyone's like, come to them for the hits. And you're just going, okay, we'll see. We'll see if they're hit makers. If they can do other hits outside of Stranger Things, then I will, I'll be like, hell yeah, you're a hit maker. Until then, we'll see. We'll see. Gotten really good at storytelling this season, guys. It's pretty good. I got kind of sick of Papa and his long-winded metaphors.
Yes, I did too.
I got sick of it. I got sick of what are the other little weird things I got sick of. There wasn't too much. It wasn't that bad, It was it was a great season overall, man. Good stuff.
It was.
Favorite character?
Favorite who?
You have a favorite character?
Oh, do I have a favorite character in this? Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
Oof, that's a tough one. Oh man, because you know me, I love my. I think my favorite character since the start of Stranger Things has been the Demogorgon, because I'm a creature guy. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, in
that's such
terms
a cool
of
creature.
it's
Yeah.
a great creature, and I like Vecna. I like.
So this season must have made you happy because I don't think it's ever looked better or
It hasn't looked
moved
better
in
this
such a
season.
way and killed in
Yeah.
such a cool way and fought and like I've never seen it this cool before. So that was great.
Yeah, yeah. It's I think it's great, and I think but as far as, you know, character relationships and
Mhm.
things like that, I would say that Steve and Nancy were my favorite two characters this season.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Adorable.
they go in to fight, they go in to get things done. It had shades. What was interesting, I don't know if you caught this, but do you remember the training sequence between in season 1 with Nancy and oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Will's brother. Holy cow.
Wait.
Shoot, Jonathan. Yes, when they're training and fighting, right?
Right.
Seeing her and Steve do the same thing was really interesting. Like going to the store, getting the weapons, because he was doing that with Dustin. So that I liked. I liked the evolution of that. That and I think we got the most character development out of Steve and Nancy this season.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a very interesting to see where they go.
Yeah, I love Daddy, of course.
Yes,
I didn't want to. I wasn't ready for him to go. Having his character on the team was such a great dynamic, now it's gone. But we will always love it. We'll miss the Metal God. I did like Nancy this season. Something about the Lois Lane Nancy, looking, solving the cases. And then coming in with a shotty, hot and blowing back no way.
Yep.
She's a badass. I like her character for some reason more this season. And what else? It's been cool seeing like all the characters be able to form their relationships, but like you still feel like they're the team, like Will said to Mike, right? Like you're the heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mike had forgotten that with his silly haircuts. Is Mike just existing though, just to like be Ellen's boyfriend though at this point?
Character. I will tell you, when we talk about characters, least liked characters for me this season, but just in general, is Mike hasn't gone anywhere in all of these seasons. It's really weird.
What's going on? Is Finn Wolfhard like a teenage heartthrob right now? It's like they're like young girls are like, he's the hot. Is he like a Tiger Beat fucking dude or something?
I don't know. Well, see, that depends on what you're following,
because that's all I would say he's there for.
Yeah.
If he even is considered that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's not like I don't like the character of Mike, but wasn't Mike kind of more of a leader in season 1, and now he's kind of just Eleven's boyfriend? Am I wrong?
I think so. Yeah, and I think for me, it's there's a lot of complicated things that in this season to where I think if they weren't trying to keep people on the payroll, or they didn't have good contracts, you could have written out some of those characters. Like Mike's story arc in this really wasn't that important, and so when it came to him saying, Elle, I'm worried I'm going to lose you, and I said, oh yeah, that's right, he was talking about that as a fear of his. You know what I mean? And with Will too, I was like, and Will showing the drawing, Will's been a character, and I could be wrong. I'm just trying to if I think about it, but Will has sort of always been a central character and a gateway to understanding the Upside Down. In this, he really wasn't. He was just kind of there.
Well, he had some moments where he sensed stuff that they couldn't, which was cool.
Yeah,
but absolutely. It wasn't as often. I wish they would kind of beef it up a little bit by now, like as if it's growing, because, like I said, it'd be interesting to see him start getting a little bit of 11 powers.
Yes,
maybe that might not happen at all to anyone in this show, and they'll just let 11 be the one to point the hand and scream. But I'd like to see them develop in ways that are beyond just I'm a character. A character is king. Don't get me wrong. I want to see them develop in the next season, but let's get some psychic powers. Let's.
Nope. Vaughn, did you freeze again?
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, you're back. I hear you talking now. Sorry, you froze for a second there.
So, and what do you think the final battle's going to be like, man?
I have absolutely no idea.
Bloody, but I know. What are they going to do to take down a Mind Flayer? Like, the thing's tall is that thing?
The thing that I'm trying to figure out, so, and this is a couple of big things for me, where I liked the part where excellent, great, thank you, Brian. I liked the part where Vecna says, no, he didn't make me evil, I was evil to begin with, which we all knew, but it was nice to hear a character articulate that for once.
Finally.
And when I saw the whole world open up and I saw that craziness happen, my whole thing was saying, okay, it's going to be a big battle that's going to happen on a smaller level, right? A smaller point. But I get the sense with these guys when they're writing these stories that they have a decent idea of where they're going with it. They have a decent sense of it. It doesn't feel like, at this point, it doesn't feel like Lost or any of those other shows. So I'm curious to see where they go with the next season, man. I really am. I think they broadened the lore this season. I do think what Micro was saying there is true. I think this could be a show that is a one and done. You know, the first season. I thought that with Punisher and a bunch of other Netflix shows that it could have wrapped up very nicely in one season. But since it's gone on and expanded this world, I think that this was probably, I hate using the word, this was their most ambitious. I think this was their most, how do I word it? I think this felt like the first season of Stranger Things captured the mind of the time, and this one felt like the first one to do it for now. Because we've changed a lot. Where we were when that first season came out is very different than where we are now. And I think they recaptured something,
Yeah, they made it Nightmare on Elm Street, and it became an 80s movie again instead of just an 80s skin suit, like in season 2 and 3, in my opinion. So it followed what I call like 80s DNA, because I don't have a better name for it. But it's hard to explain, but as a kid who grew up watching it over and over and over, I feel like I kind of understand it. I think they do too. They're VHS kids. They grew up on that stuff. So, but this time they incorporated it in such good ways that work that the other seasons just don't, in my opinion, don't hit as hard. And I like the fact that it's a final battle season now, and it's not going to be as much like still character development counts. But instead of them doing all this weird character development for like one of the mom characters, like that we don't care about that much, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like we've seen in other seasons. Who cares? Like, let's get the kids in there and let's get fighting. Let's get adventure going. Let's get the weird 80s, craziness going, because that's what we're here for. Monsters, man. Stranger Things.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Burt's has got a point, and I think he's right. I think they'll bring back those kids from season 2, the Indian girl who's got the power. I
can see that.
I can see that.
2?
Totally.
Was that 2 or
was that 2 or 3? I can't even remember.
3? Was she 3? I can't remember her name. I just didn't like her.
Yeah,
like I didn't like those. I thought I'd like them, but over time I was like, "What the hell is this? This sucks."
Yeah, it's weird. We'll see. Like I said, they've got a lot on their plate. They've got a lot on their plate, guys. So we'll see what they do. But I will say that
they should bring her back.
They should. Yeah, they probably should. It makes narrative
feels
sense.
Unfinished, even though I don't like the character. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like there's unfinished business for the psychics of Papa and the and the Upside Down, if you will. Like, this is about closing those portals, man. And I think in season 2, I could be wrong, but I think 11 closed a portal in season 2. So
I think so. Yeah.
Theoretically, she can close them. So like, let's get on it. You're gonna have get a lot of tissues for the nosebleeds ahead. Yeah. So you guys need to use the nosebleed at the right moment. Like when she got her powers back, like they just showed her do the thing and she got the nosebleed and it was all epic and it was great. That moment where she gets her powers back and she lifts. That's in these new ones, right? Or is that okay? She lifts the big thing and it's amazing, right? Metal thing. And I was just like, that's what, and then as she lifts it, then she's supposed to turn or look at them. And as she looks at them, that's when the blood should start coming down dramatically. But it didn't. It's like just came, you know what I mean? I don't know. They did it a lot this season.
Yes, they did.
They're having fun with it. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing that I'm fascinated by and the thing that motivates me going forward. And I want to make sure we do say, guys, thank you for everybody in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button. We do appreciate you being here for us talking about this, but I want to talk a little bit shift gear for those of you guys who know us well. And for those of you guys who haven't, we're both comic book creators, and I wanted to share,
in theory,
one of our projects there. And I'm going to remove the spoiler overlay, because this is not spoilers at this point. So we have got Terror in the Trenches that is excruciatingly close to 70K. What can we do to get it to 70K? That's my question.
Tell your mama, tell your dog, tell your friends, tell your girlfriend's friend, tell your girlfriend. Guys, this book is everything badass in the world, and an awesome story with an awesome hero. So it's good art, it's good story. It's going to be great quality book, and it's going to kick off a trilogy that you're going to love having on your shelf. Black Terror is back and badder than ever, man. So I'm excited for it. You guys are going to love getting to know this hero and all his layers. The way I wrote him, he's much more interesting than he's ever been. And he's much more brutal and violent than he's ever been. And it's just all the good things with Monica's art, as you can see. Beautiful. Just killing it. Tiago's colors bringing the world to life in a way that only he can. I mean, you want to touch it. You want to be there. And yet it's got this kind of Batman animated series gone adult kind of feel, which I think is just appealing as hell. Like, I think that's great that we were able to achieve that. That's what I wanted with this. That's what I think Black Terror deserves as a character. He's a great character. He deserves better. I'm making him awesome. I'm making him better than anything else out there on the shelves. Punisher's met his match, I would say, with this.
Right on.
So, guys, check it out. Please do. Yes. He's going to get revenge. The story's way more. I don't want to reveal anything. So it may seem like you think you know what's going on in this, and it's a simple revenge story, but there's a lot more cool stuff going on, you guys, that gets revealed. So you're going to see in this book, and in the second and third, more gets revealed as, it's like a mystery you're going to see unravel. So get in on it while you can, guys.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And if I can make one recommendation to people looking to back this book, there are a lot of great perks on this campaign. The Terror Gas Vial is a really great perk. Holy cow, I forgot how much.
I do a lot of art. I really do.
You do. It's great, man. It's great. You've got the 2 signed books, the 10 books for those of you guys who are looking to sell these in your shops. You've got the 2 books for those of you guys who are bag and board one and keep one. The copy. Terror Gas.
People like that.
Yeah, man. The Terror Gas Vial replica. And then, of course, signed comic and print set, which looks beautiful. Oh, and there you go. Signed comic plus 2-sided poster. The T-shirt, which is awesome.
Glow in the dark. Campaign only, baby.
Campaign only right there. Boom. And of course, digital deluxe for $20. And of course, if you are man enough to step up, plus shipping, the Total Terror.
Oh, yes, baby. The Total Terror is just, if you want the T-shirt, you want the book, you want a digital copy, you want the prints, you want the poster, you want like all the cool stuff, you're getting it. And it's for a good price, I think.
Yes. So. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And we've got, I just was noticing, we've got OC Steve in the chat saying, makes me want to show more people The Stain. This is art. Let me see here. Oh, yes. The 1 season 2 storyline. I would like to expand it further. The story with her mother. Oh, yes. Her mother and her mother's sister, aunt. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Oh, Strain. Yes. I love The Strain. That is a great show. Really enjoyed that. Season 1 of that, I think, was absolutely perfect. Season 5, she overcomes the nosebleed and her powers ratchet up to 11. Terror in the Trenches. Guys, you're right. Absolutely. Almost 70K. Yeah, congratulations, thanks, Vaughn. Orville still slaps. Appreciate it. The Orville's great. I love that show.
Never saw that one, but wanted to see both Strain and Orville, but I haven't gotten to
really well written. Really well written. Velcro hat patches will push it over the edge. Yeah, man, that's the key right there.
Those are fun. I like those.
Yeah, those are great.
Oh, yeah, PTP rules, and he would be perfect to talk to you about figures.
Yes, exactly. He would be. I saw a Terror figure on Big Bad Toy Store today. Someone put out.
Oh, yeah, like a super. Was it a Super 7 one or?
It was something like that. Yeah, I forget which one it was. Cool. Hey, what's up, General Piggy? Great.
Kind of G.I. Joe-ish.
Yeah, kind of G.I. Joe-ish. They had a Rocketeer one and a bunch of random figures. Mr. Monster. And it was pretty cool. How
cool the figures are these days, because my wallet can't handle.
I know, I'm bad. I've been sending you stuff, So
yeah,
go ahead.
No, man, but it's cool. I know when my limits are here. I bought a giant werewolf recently from NECA, and I'm good.
That's right. That's totally right, man.
Stranger Things is great. It's what a great thing to turn off the lights and like cuddle up with your wife or girlfriend and watch.
like into the night, you know.
Yes.
Great show, great stuff going on, and really cool characters. You get is it me, or did you get the feeling like with the opening of the new season 4, where it was all quiet and you were just seeing a guy get ready for his day? It turned out to be Papa, I think, right?
Yes.
Didn't that feel like straight out of Breaking Bad?
It did. They've got
like
more
Breaking
sophisticated.
Bad. They're studying Breaking Bad's characters, like, you know how Breaking Bad does its character studies with just people's actions and no dialogue for a while. That's what they're doing. They're learning. I mean, that's a good thing. It's cool that they're you know what I mean? Like learning the more subtle visual elements of storytelling to teach us about character, because it's so important. You know,
John, I agree with that. I always
shit.
watch Stranger Things with my wife and my girlfriend. It's really important. You know, this is what Vaughn is prescribing right now for you guys. Yeah, the Eagle Force Black Terror figure. You're absolutely right. Shanth, did you see that? Oh my gosh, hold on. I can barely read. Did you see that life-sized American Werewolf in London model? Yes, I did. I think Joe Rogan has one. Joe Rogan has one. Hail Dragon Pisces. Thank you for swinging by and dropping a like. We appreciate it. I have not seen Stranger Things. Well, we've wrapped up our Stranger Thingsing more or less. And I will say this, you know, when it comes to what we're doing, and this is something that's been a conversation I've been having with a lot of creators in CG, and I'm sure you've had it too, is that what I love about the 80s and a lot of the filmmakers, I should say, starting around in the 70s, was the fact that you saw artists make work, and they did. By the way, I love that people wanted it to get to 420 so desperately in comics.
So God bless right you, now. Folks. Love the 420. Love it.
There you go. So we're almost to we're careening towards 30K right now, which is crazy. We're at 26.5. We have got, how many backers have we got now? 420 backers. Of course, I should remember that. And there will be more pages up on this campaign very soon. This weekend is when I'm going to be doing that. I know Rob has been wanting me to do that. And he's right. I've got to get to it. And this book is beautiful. It's coming out great. It's everything I love. But here's the big kicker. This is something that happened on stream this week. For any of you guys who missed it, the stretch goals. We have added a new stretch goal since the 25K. At 30K, Eric Weathers, the man himself, letters the book. So I will be hiring at 30K Eric Weathers to do the lettering. I can't think of somebody who I would have more fun having to letter the book. And I think he would just do a dynamite job with it. For those of you guys who would like to see Eric Weathers letter this book, I thought it'd make a great stretch goal. What an amazing artist. And as we've been talking and I've been getting to know him better, not only do I respect him as a painter and a comic book storyteller, an illustrator, and an all-around good guy, but his lettering sensibility, something I've been very, very focused on and very concerned about. He's expressed a similar, sensitivity and concern in terms of what could be done with it. And I think he's a perfect person for that job. So, there we go.
He's my royal court letterer.
That's exactly right. What a great dude, And so the perks are, my God, we have less stuff. Those are gone. We've still got some of the head sketch. 20 out of 50 of those.
I got one of those.
I know you did, man. I'm gonna make it killer for you. Gonna make it killer for you. The 2 signed comics, the comic with a print. A lot of people backing this one, $35 for the print, and I think there might be some art books add-on stuff. That
print's beautiful.
It's gonna be lovely.
Thank you for continuing the dark fantasy painting world.
Yes.
I don't know what to say. Like it's great that someone's carrying that torch. Well done, sir. Hey.
Thank you so much, man. I've been, as I was working on the Visions piece and doing letter a book for a 6-year of Keystones and some Papa John's. Yeah, perfect. This is the thing about it, right? As I've been doing these jobs, whether it's the Visions piece or the one I did for Phil or the thing I'm working on right now. With for Rob Arnold for the bookmark campaign, the thing for me about it is that I love this sweeping, fun pulp artwork, and I'm a big fan of stuff that understands its history and reinvents it for a new time. And both of us have been doing that in our work. And I think that Terror in the Trenches, when I found out that there was a character called Black Terror and that this was you taking an old property and reinventing it, I went and I looked at the old property and I went, oh, this is totally a fresh take. Like it both makes sense. it's such its own thing. So when I saw that figure, the first thing I thought was, I compared it to what Terror in my mind is supposed to look like according to your vision of it.
Yeah.
And that was the fun part about seeing it, was realizing, that's the thing I love. And yeah, the Cthulhu mythos is a huge part of this.
Right.
And Frank Frazetta and all of those
I
things
swear, I think H.P. Lovecraft gets more popular over time.
he does. Yeah.
That's rare when an artist does that. Yeah. Because he didn't used to be everywhere I looked in pop culture.
No.
Now he is, man.
I think
Same
the
with
issue
steampunk.
with him was that they made a tragic mistake in, I think, trying to cancel him during that whole craziness that was covered, I think, pretty well on Ethan's channel, the sci-fi thing. Because the thing about H.P. Lovecraft is, and I learned this the more that I've read Lovecraft, is that so many people borrow from Lovecraft but don't get anywhere near the depth that he does. It's his stuff is timeless, and I meet so many people from all different kinds of backgrounds, all different kinds of cultures, who see the value in his work, and people go, well, H.P. Lovecraft, like, yeah, but he's also dead, and can we move, like, let's look at the work of this stuff. This work is brilliant.
I absolutely loathe that he's the only writer or artist I think I ever hear about where he comes with a disclaimer.
Yes,
he does. He was a naughty racist boy. Like, only him out of everyone else. No one else apparently has ever been racist ever in their lives. Just him. And he's the only one that gets the disclaimer. So it makes me think, man, he must have been really bad. But what I hear, he wasn't that. I mean, wasn't he just more of a product of his times?
He was a product of his times in the eugenics thing. But the thing I will say about him that I find the most fascinating is he was a type of tortured soul who died of gastrointestinal stuff when he was 40 years old. But the biggest thing about, he had lived not a very long life, but he was the kind of tortured soul who was an anti-Semite and married a Jewish woman. He was a mess. And he was, and his upbringing was horrific. His mother was a fabulous piece of work. And but all that stuff aside, what I always tell people is there's a lot of people who are far from perfect or even downright horrendous. And it is no guarantee
human beings
that they make great work. He made great work. He made canon defining and canonical work in the horror genre.
Yes.
And 100%. to really understand his work outside of the aesthetic references people make is to bring your game up to the next level. It's the same thing as, Robert E. Howard or any of these artists, the great pulp artists, right? Yeah. They, I think wasn't Robert E. Howard thought that, the town he was in, everyone was trying to exterminate him. I mean, look, these guys have a lot of things.
We all have our demons.
They all have their demons. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It must have been really bad.
And you have to understand, a lot of us become creators in order to deal with it.
Yes. Yeah.
We're fighting our demons when we make this stuff a lot of times. And so, when I'm reading people's books in Comicsgate, I'm always learning about who you really are and what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Just let you all know that.
Yeah,
tight.
It's and I think that's the thing that I would say this, in terms of what we're doing here, guys. You guys are here we say this all the time, but you're here on the ground level of something amazing, of this artistic renaissance in graphic novels where the fans, and hey, what's up, Jasper Plan 9? Great to see you. Where the fans are funding and making this stuff happen. And everybody's going to have a different approach. But if there's one thing that I hope that we do and we continue to do, that is something that I think that I want for the Duffer Brothers, I want for all of these creators, is to have this be the beginning of our artistic journey, so that people are looking back, like with the Steven Spielbergs or the George Lucases or the Quentin Tarantinos or whoever it is that we're talking about, the Jack Kirbys, and you're seeing a body of work that evolves over time, whether it's the Frank Frazettas, the Gil Elfgrens, it doesn't matter. But I want this to be that starting point. I don't think for any of us we're interested in coming in and just doing one thing. Vaughn has already got, and it's an add-on on his campaign. Terror in the Trenches, he's got an add-on for Monster MD, which is a fantastic book. And you're starting to build this pantheon of characters, this pantheon of a world that is your world. And that's the goal.
Yeah,
that's
it's crazy to do it, but I'm doing it. And so many cool books I'm working on are getting done behind the scenes, and I'm really proud of it. But like, that's the thing, man. We all have our own way of doing it and are, making it happen. And it is the beginning of a huge journey. We don't know what's going to happen, but who cares? I'm doing what I love with awesome people and awesome fans. Like, this is what it's about. This is what and if I'm, and if I need to connect with you people in whatever way I want to, that's cool. Like, I'm not going to judge people for how they want to engage fans. Like, whatever works.
I feel like you're alluding to something.
Of course.
No, I don't.
Whatever works for you works, and that's not something for me to judge. Like, this is about getting your book in front of people and getting and getting it to connect and resonate, because people like you and me, Shanth, we chase the story dragon. We want to tell the best stories that people talk about, that people pass on forever after we're gone. That's hard to do, but it's so worth it when you put in the work. And I think that's the equivalent of building my house out of bricks too. I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
Yes.
Like other people are like, no, just churn it out. No, get the money. Like, okay, yeah, but like, also don't build your house out of straw. Like, be careful. Like, think about what your next project should be, and like really plan it out and see what you can make happen. And we all, but at the same time, like, I have different methods, and I can't judge someone for not doing it the way I do it exactly.
Yes.
Whatever works for you and your book and your property, make it happen. But like, one thing that works is promoting it. I don't go on a lot of live streams, even though I have gone on like a tour for my books. I think a creator like me kind of feels like I have to. And so like, but like, I don't go on a lot of them. So for me, promotion is pretty king. And where I can do it. So like, it's different for everybody, man. I'm just trying.
I mean, I think for me, I just have to point this out. I love Batman 1989 and the concept work of Anton Furst. And this question was, is there an art piece or a collection that inspires you to draw or paint or color the most? For me, it's, of course, Alphonse Mucha's work, Frank Frazetta's work, and Mobius's work are some of my biggest inspirations. What about you, Vaughn? What stuff really inspires you?
Man, let's see, Eric Powell on the Goon. I really like him, and his work really inspires me.
Yeah, his stuff
makes me want to draw, but also like whip out the ink washes and watercolor. You know this.
Yes, of course, man.
Live this life. Who else? Who else makes me just want to draw all the damn live long day? I'm looking at all my books here.
Just so you know,
Antoine, Eastman and Laird's Ninja Turtles.
Eastman and Laird's Ninja Turtles. I'm with you there. Antoine Dennison wants you to know he's working on a fanzine called the Von Klaus Reader. Know that it's happening. Antoine. Yeah, hail First Watch Studios. You guys are the best. Last time, jeez, that was cool. Yeah, this is the thing. This is the thing I'll say too about this why I'm in CG and why I'm here, why I'm in Comicsgate, why I'm doing what I'm doing. I came out of the academic world, and I came out of standardization. I came out of overbearing bureaucracy. And what I said to people is that I want to take risks under my own name. I want to say Shanth ENJETI art on it, and I want to do the best work I can do and live or die by that stuff. And I want to be free to not have to do it like everyone else is doing it. And what's been so cool is I'm doing a fully painted comic book right now, inspired by the things I love. Vaughn is doing two different projects that have the same love of this pulp sensibility that we all care about. And I think the easiest thing for us to get sort of drawn into in general, in life, not in Comicsgate, but everywhere, is for people to look over and say, ooh, look what that person is doing there. Look what that person is doing there. Or a person saying, you should be doing it like I'm doing it, or you should be doing it like this. And Stranger Things did not have a similar project. It had similar attempts around it, but it did not have a peer inside of Netflix. And it still doesn't have a peer inside of Netflix. It's its own thing. And the best work for me is, I remember looking at the launch of Legend Comics, and you saw Sin City and you saw Hellboy, and then at the same time you had Image Comics and you had Youngblood and you had Spawn and you had Cyberforce. For me, that's the dream. And yes, Eric, and I love the Eric Powell artist edition, looks beautiful, by the way. And I think that for Vaughn and I, and this is the biggest thing I would say, I don't spend, hail Mr. Monkey Boy 1969, I don't spend a lot of time, and yeah, that's absolutely right, John. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Just appreciate other people for what they contribute to their expression and what you can learn from it. Maybe you can't learn much, but at least appreciate or respect it a little bit, you know?
Exactly. Yes.
Other times, there's, stuff that's not as good. And you're just like, well, what could I do to help them? What could I do? What advice could I give?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is the thing. There are enough people in any given endeavor, and certainly in CG and certainly in the independent comic scene. I think about Billy Tucci a lot. This is the saddest thing, guys. I'm gonna let you in on something tragic.
Am I gonna cry like five times, like Stranger Things?
It's not that bad. Don't worry, it's not that bad. But I was involved in a CG wrestling match that I didn't know was happening, and in the match, it involved me participating in the assault of Billy Tucci, who was so nice to me at a comic convention when I was in college. I know it's not real, but it did affect me for the evening. Like
did you watch it with just pure horror in your face?
I was a little because I was assuming that I would lose, and I thought that would be hilarious. Although my daughter found it frightening, but instead I see this lovable, long time indie creator hero,
wonderful man,
smiling away, nice to everybody, friend of the Frazetta family, and then I'm having to watch this horrible incarnation of me in the Upside Down beating this person with Gabe, and I was mortified. Yes. So here's what I'm saying. When people look around, there is no shortage of creators out there you can emulate. When you look at boxing, it's the same.
Yeah.
When you look at sports, it's the same. There are some people who are doing things that I could only aspire to be in the position to make those choices. But I will tell you this honestly. I have a very clear idea of what success means for me. And that is making stuff that you guys love, making stuff that I take my time on, and making paintings. That's a huge aspect of it for me, and doing these head sketches. And yes, I love doing these streams, but I love doing them even more with people that are passionate like I am, who we aren't identical in our thinking about things. Like, this is where I've met so many people in the chat on these streams who are people I can't imagine not having met for the things they've introduced me to. Yeah, I mean, one of the greatest moments in Comicsgate for me, guys, I'm going to embarrass you for a second, Vaughn, that one of the projects I did when I was a new father, my kids are now going to be 17 in October, ponder that, was a book, a Flash Gordon annual. And Len Wein, one of the creators of Wolverine, an incredible writer, wrote the short story. And I remember thinking when I finished that job, I was like, did anyone even read this? Does anyone care? And I was, there it is. And I was, let me get rid of Nosfero here. I was on a stream on the CG team, and Vaughn goes over and grabs it and holds it up to the camera. And it was the first time I ever celebrated the work on that project.
Oh, there you go, man. I'm happy to help.
Sincerely, man.
You should be celebrating. Look at this cover.
It's such a fun project.
It's so badass. So Flash Gordon rules. And I grabbed this right when I saw it.
Yeah, and that's the thing that kind of blows me away about this stuff, which is, that, yes, way back when, yes, with Concrete, Hellboy, Sin City, yes, indeed. And this is the thing for me, oh, wow, yeah, Liam Sharp's amazing. His stuff's pretty cool.
Oh, I love Liam Sharp.
Yeah, but we got into this and we were like, this is such a dream. We've come into this dream world of what if I could make comics? And I meet people like Rob Arnold and Michael Bancroft and Eric Weathers and Gabe El-Taib and Ethan Van Sciver and John Malin, who helped me to get myself on StreamYard. And the cool thing about it is that they know what they want to do with their artwork. They know what they want to create. They know what their goals are and their ambitions are. And that's not something that I'm ever going to completely know or understand because I'm too busy focused on you guys and this stuff. And when people reach out to me and they say, hey, can you give me a hand with all the stuff going on? I always try to do my best. I always try to make sure that I can help people out. But the big thing is why I'm in CG is so that I could focus on doing my work, because I spent 18 years helping other people with their artwork to get there. And I thought, what am I going to make that's mine that I can show people? And that you guys have supported it to the level you have has been huge for me, guys. It's been big for my family. And much like with the Flash Gordon book, I love being a comic book creator, an independent comic creator. And I love being in CG and doing this stuff, man. That's what it's about. You know, that's the joy of it. And we're having a great time, a great time. Jam Plant Nice Liam always been kind to me. I chatted in 2009. Wow, there you go. And then I think if you believe you don't have a choice, it's like death to the soul. You're right. Or at least creativity. But inspiration can jumpstart it. Yes. I'm having trouble coming up with ideas for my YouTube channel, but I know I need to do it. There you go. Sorry, go ahead, Vaughn.
Don't think of it like coming up with ideas for it as much as like what gets you talking and you can't stop. What gets you passionate? What gets your heart racing when you get talking about it? And you could just go on and on. Like find that and use that as your starting point, maybe. See if that helps. I don't know. I'm no expert at all. I'm definitely not. For me, Comicsgate was so interesting because I was in it before it was called it. And it was something that kind of evolved naturally, and we started being called that. And I was more thinking I was going to be a critic who just made comics kind of secretly in the background, not to like publish, not to like make money off of. I just love comics. I love making comics. Of course, I had the same dream we all did. Someday I'll get to make them and I'll get paid, But I still was going for every comics in my life for most of my life. I was always going the other direction. What about med school? What about I'll be a graphic designer? What about I'll just be like I'll run a tea house and just have a more simple, I'll work in a pipe factory and just be a blue collar guy. Like what if I tried that? I tried everything else except the thing that I loved. And so it's so refreshing to hear that you're here doing what you love now. Because that's my story too in a lot of ways. You're working for other people. You're not expressing yourself the way you do. And so what the hell's the point of being an artist? And then Comicsgate happens. I ran a tea house.
There you go.
Ran a tea house in Chicago. And that's where I actually wrote Monster MD while sipping tea and serving little old ladies. And it was a great time. I had a great time. It was, and girls thought you were hot whenever you would whip out the Japanese bamboo whisk and make them some matcha and froth it up real nice for them.
I feel like I haven't
get a number. You get a number that way. I'll make you some matcha. You'll live.
There you go, man. That's the key.
But it was a good hangover cure, so a lot of people came for it every morning. But what was I saying? But that Comicsgate, it became like for me just this statement of fandom. While also being like not just the fandom's money and showing what we like, but like the artists showing the mainstream what can be done instead. Like I swear I grew up in a culture that revered story, and I live in a culture now that doesn't like it and sees it as a problem, and just doesn't care about it at least. And I just hate that. Like, I got to write good stories. I got to contribute and bring back, like, I guess, reverence for that, But yeah, so the Comicsgate was just this amazing key to, like, me being able to do what I want to do in my life. It's not what I expected to do. I was the head of media and social media for this pretty big organization for a while. And I did that for 3 years while I was making Monster MD. And I thought that was just going to be my kind of stable job. But after COVID and everything got all political, they ousted me, man. Or I broke my ribs, and then they pretended like, okay, we have to fire you, but they didn't, And they got rid of me. And right when Biden got in, too, they were just like, you're gone. And like, I have, ever since then, I'm a comic creator, and you guys, the fans, and the artists, my friends, everyone in CG, you guys have made it all worth it. You've made
What's
it
your
possible.
favorite tea? Michael wants to know. I'm sorry. He just wants.
My favorite tea is this black tea mixed with lemon and lime peels called Kaluna Lime. It's a Kaluna Lime tea. I think it's on sale again from our tea place. But it's an iced tea. And it's just the most refreshing, amazing, yummy thing in the world. I also really like Japanese matcha green tea. That stuff will make you feel good. It'll replace coffee if you want to get coffee. It'll help you out.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, boy, I'm hearing all about
tea is
house.
a drug.
Oh, Artist and Jetty
sell it by the
refresh your
ounce.
campaign. Oh dear. Uh-oh.
Oh my.
All righty, let's
more
see what
420. Oh no!
let's see what we got here. Hang on a second. Hang on. Let me scroll
Wrangle
down here.
that.
We'll do a refresh.
Wrangling.
Oh my stars and garters.
Man. That's double digits.
2 more. So to celebrate this refresh, and I'm sure people have been trying to get me to do this, and I've missed it because I'm a dope. To celebrate this, I've got to make sure I play this because this is what we do here at the Waffle Lodge when good
celebrate
super chats in this. Tragic when horror is the theme, but still they cheer you, they salute you. Thank you guys so much. My gosh.
We love you.
Another reason why I love Comicsgate, man. That's right. Stephen Rockwood is one of my greatest champions in the world, and I doff my cap to you, my friend. Yeah, it's this needs to get 425 a week.
30K.
God bless you. Yeah, we're
30K campaign. This is a 100K campaign in my mind.
This right here is our 6-figure master here, Eric Weathers. Great to see you here. Hail Shanth, Survive Infinity 0088. It's great to see you, my friend. And yes, absolutely. You have a great night too. So yeah, it's been backer 440. Jeremy Burt's my friend. I bow to you. Oh my goodness, you guys are the best. So it's one of those things, right? We're here to do this, and I will say that at the end of the day, it's better for all of us when we all try things. So many of the things I'm doing in my campaign are things I've seen other creators do. They've experimented with them and they've worked. And when I see Terror in the Trenches, I'm not at the point where I can even imagine doing like the Vial or something like that. But it inspires me to think like that. The same thing with Patrick Thomas Parnell. The same thing with everybody. Eric Huffle's great sculptures.
All these creative people. Can you believe how outside the box and awesome everybody is? No wonder we're having a renaissance. We're like some really determined, freaking, like very pissed off, very fed up, and very creative MFers that you guys have pissed off. So, okay, now we get, and it's cool that we get to respond with creation, unlike them who just burns down everything and destroys and blacklists, attacks, whatever, puts out lies. We're putting out beautiful art, putting out truth. We're making fans first. We're making good. We're bringing good story back is so important to culture, guys. It really is. I'm surprised when people try to overlook that and just be like, well, the art's good. So I'm like, yes, a lot of us are into this because we have an art fetish. I know. I do too. I've suffered from it too. But guys, like, stories feed your soul.
Yes, they do.
Like, and if it's always not that good a story, it's it can have the best art in the world, but you're not going to feel fulfilled.
Yes,
it's like eating
absolutely.
Frosting,
I mean, and for me right now, so I was talking with someone the other night, and they were talking to me about heroes. Yes, Nosfero 2 Septum Bar as a perk. I'm worried someone would do that. That's my CG Essence. That's absolutely right. It is. Yeah. Yep. Get out of the comfort zone. Everything we're doing, I looked over at my wife one morning and then to my girlfriend, as we established earlier. That's who you watch Stranger Things with, I guess. But I was talking to her and I said, when we did this, Vaughn has a tea fetish, hell. I said to her, I go, babe, everything has changed. Like nothing is ever going to be the same now that I'm doing this. Yeah, exactly. I said it's never going to be the same. And she goes, wow, that's intense. What do you mean by that? I go, what I am doing and what I am so grateful that you guys are here and so supportive of is I am saying I said to myself when I did this, I'm going to leave a secure environment and I should say an environment that I don't agree with, but an environment gives the illusion of security to do something that I cannot, when I get to the end of this whole, life adventure, if I look back and I was seeing Comicsgate and I had launched my 2 art books, I said, I would rather regret doing this than regret not doing this. And I know which one of those is going to be the worst. You know what I mean? It's just having not done it.
Who wants to be like, I could have tried, but no, I worked for the corporation and made sure they were happy. Or I worked for the, college and made sure that I stayed in line.
Yes.
Like, no, No. We're Mavericks. We're artists. Yeah. We're outside the lines. We break the rules. We piss you off. We flip you off. We go home. We bait your sister. We go to lunch. You can't stop us. Like, we're gonna keep making stuff, no matter how many blacklists you put me on. I'd love to name on a blacklist. That'd be awesome.
I'll tell you this.
But like, right. But and the stories will be so good. The art will be so good. To deal with us. Yes. That's the way I've always seen it. Like, we're gonna you can try to not write articles about all the greatness we have going on, like Ethan doing so well with Cyberfog, making those numbers. That should be headlines everywhere, you know. Nah, but I want to make it so we're so good that they're forced to deal with us. Like, they're forced to write about us. They're forced to be like, they did pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, and I love Eric. If you pay me enough, I'll stop. Brian suddenly holds it. I work for a corporation, you jerks. And it's like, let me tell you something. We appreciate your work. It's the truth. Listen, this is the crazy thing about it. I think of you guys when you guys step into the spray. Can't survive there. Someone asked me, they said this, and I love this, out of the kiddie pool, and the leap of faith right here. You take a leap of faith on the story quality when you back based on what's on the campaign page. And here's the thing I will definitely say. When people say to me, what is so inspiring to you about this? I go, after 2 art books and after having people support me on that was big for me. I mean, that really affected me. Yeah. But this
you're where you
is
belong.
A whole nother level. And I can't wait to deliver for you guys because that's all I'm living for at this point. You know, I'm working, I get up in the morning, I go to my desk and I'm like, I'm going to get this done and I want to make it be great. And it's a ton of work. I never stop thinking about the business ever. It's I wake up, I go to sleep thinking about, I need to stream. I've got a show today. I've got to, pay attention to this, got to do this. And, it's great. But what you guys do when you share the campaign on Twitter, when you say, I back this campaign, have you seen it? And I realized that's something that suddenly drives sales. I can't put into words how grateful I am and how overwhelmed I am by your support for everything we're doing, guys. Seriously, it means the world. Thank you guys so much.
Change our lives for real.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
I appreciate
John.
you. And just to I don't know, man. You're making stuff on your own terms, but if you told me, no, you're going to be part of a group of artists who are not just doing that, they're making art in a time of political strife. Oh, there we go. A little.
You have the choice of safety and security while lying about who you are or struggle to fight being true to who you are. You chose wisely. Thank you so much, Son of Liberty Radio. And very true. And I really appreciate the super chat. Seriously, it all means a lot. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. I appreciate it so much. and you have earned yourself, again, some cheerleading. So here you are. You guys just make it rain.
My wife and my girlfriend there.
Yes, it was. That was Vaughn's wife and girlfriend. Yeah, I'll fix the machines that assemble the retail boxes for the printer ink that you all need. We do, Brian. Suddenly old. There's no getting around. Denzel clip to close out, please. So that's a great idea. So we're gonna wrap up, Vaughn. If you want to stick around and say hey, and if that sounds all right with you, cool. Just for a few minutes. And guys, thank you for being here for the 5th episode. Next week, we're going to come back with something old school so you guys don't have to worry about being spoiled. Son of Liberty Radio, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated, my friend. Seriously appreciate it. And yes, Stephen Rockwood, in honor of you and all the work you do and gratitude, I will absolutely play that Denzel clip on the way out. So thank you all. We appreciate you guys so much for being here and for supporting us with your generosity. Yes, indeed. We salute you. Cheers. And much love, guys. And we will see you very, very soon, I promise. And here you go, guys.
Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. It's not easy. So keep working, keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work.